What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and some key levels to watch for. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO had a absolutely kick-ass day yesterday, up 9.27%, and it looks as though that it wants to continue it so far in the pre-market, up 5.6%. It is also top 10. I believe it's actually the third most traded stock so far this morning, a lot of which is because of the ES8. So this was stated, so how are the orders for the all new NIO ES8? And it was answered, I can only share a bit since NIO doesn't disclose unaudited figures, but so far ES8 orders have exceeded those of the Onvo L90 last month. So once again, indirectly using that 10,000 as a benchmark, but if that is accurate, that's huge for the ES8. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. I would actually rather them answer this in this format rather than just saying, yeah, 10,000, 15,000. This is still has room for interpretation, even though from what we can see from the registration numbers, it doesn't look as though that there was that 10,000 L90 benchmark hit. But nonetheless, if they're that optimistic and saying it was greater than the L90, that's again pretty kick-ass for NIO. But aside from that though, there is shorts increasing 578,000 shares during just the pre-market. So essentially you are going to see no different than yesterday, a battle. Just there was a overwhelming amount of institutional transactions that did get in yesterday. So you are seeing somewhat FOMO kicking in, which is good to see for NIO. It's nice. I've been covering NIO for a very long time, and these types of price action is few and far between, but when it does happen, it is very, very special. But nonetheless, 11.7% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 180 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts are increasing. I feel like they're trying their very best to suppress NIO below that $5 mark. And this is something I mentioned yesterday. So quickly going over here, the bulls are anticipating for it to be between that 550 and 6 for today by the end of the business day. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $5. But if we kind of look at this is the open interest. There's 36,000 at that 5, 32,000 at the 550, 15,000 at the 6, and then ultimately 18,000 at the 450. So given realistic price targets, it is fair to assume that NIO might test and potentially even break above that $6 range. And if so, that would cause a very nice Gamma Squeeze rolling into next week. So roughly around, I'd say about 8.59 million shares would need to be covered to for all these options. So shorts, market makers don't want that to happen. So they might have another battle today. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what comes from that. But these are all the transactions that did occur yesterday on the secondary market. And then these are all the ones from the dark pool. So a lot of big transactions. So this is all from yesterday. So a lot of big transactions after hours. So 1.1, 3.6, 2.6 million. So a lot of big money was getting into NIO. And that was as well like seen throughout the trading day. So I did a pre-market video yesterday where I said I didn't feel it was going to get above this R2, but I was pleasantly wrong. And so if I'm wrong about that in the future, definitely say F you Cal, you're wrong, because I'd much rather NIO move higher and me be wrong about that than not. But yeah, ultimately today 562 is going to be a strong support. Flip side, that R3 is going to be the next strong target / resistance at 632. In between, you'll have that psychological $6 resistance as well. But given the momentum that happened yesterday, and that could happen today as well, I wouldn't say that this R3 is off the table. So just watch for $6 and then 632. And then, like I said, 562 to be that kind of strong support. And given from what we can see from the volume so far, it looks like big money really wants to continue the momentum and really push it higher. As far as data, one thing that will be really moving the market is Powell. So his speech is roughly in about an hour, hour and a half. And so ultimately NIO might get moved through algorithmic trading because of that. But if he does hint at a cut, then the market is just going to explode higher. So NIO most likely will be hitting that 632. And keep in mind, once it hits that 632, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from 815. So the train will have left the station, and it'll be very hard for shorts to slow it down before it hits that 8. So I see a lot of people saying in the comments saying $8 is next, $8 is next. To be fully honest, it definitely could. Aside from that, no new analyst ratings, no articles really coming out associated to NIO worthwhile bringing up, but most likely, just given what was stated, there's going to be a hell of a lot of articles about the ES8 over the weekend. So that should gain and build some additional momentum going into the following week. And like I said, going back over here, best case scenario, if it closes above, let's say 550 or even that 6 or 650 above, it doesn't really matter for the options, but you could definitely see a very nice gamma squeeze as a byproduct of that. On the actual chart itself, things are heating up. There's no real negatives to bring up aside from the fact that it is kind of overbought, and honestly a lot of stocks get like that. Nothing really wrong with it in my opinion, especially when they go through corrections. So yeah, you are legitimately seeing FOMO, and it's kind of interesting. Even back here I did say that it has the exact same setup as the September run, so where it did have a certain level of consolidation and then it just moved higher. Of course, the catalyst at this time completely different from this. So this is more associated to L90 launch, and then this one is just, I think, more of a technical, and then now ES8 driven. But yeah, I don't think anyone's complaining. Big things coming. Let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, as I mentioned, through Moomoo, they do have a new algo feature that I'll be doing a video on. I was wanting to actually put it out today. Most likely I'll be putting it out over the weekend, but nonetheless, it actually gives a unique opportunity for retail to do algorithmic trading. And to make things better, Moomoo actually does have a pretty good promo where if you do deposit $100, they give you $50 back. So that is a kick-ass deal. Sign up for that. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all of that said, appreciate all of you watching.